Check this out. This is the largest Burmese python ever caught here in the state of Florida. It's 18 feet long.
Finally tonight, a farmer who just would not give up, digging in his field in Michigan. Here's ABC's John Donvan with the archaeological treasure.
Probably in its 40s at the time of its death, probably lived between 10,000 and 15,000 years ago. It's not all of the animal. In fact, it's the skull, the jaw, the tusks, many of the vertebrae, not all of them.
In Ohio, a camera captured something so startling that it sent shockwaves around the globe. This unbelievable event, recorded in broad daylight, has left everyone baffled and curious to know more. How could something so extraordinary happen right here? What other mysteries might be lurking in the shadows, waiting to be discovered? Join us as we explore deeper and reveal the shocking truths hidden in plain sight, from ancient skulls to mammoth bones. In the United States, known for its surprises, a recent shopping trip made headlines when an anthropologist found a human skull in the Halloween aisle of Paradise Vintage Market in Fort Myers, Florida. It was 2023, and a regular day turned extraordinary when she realized the decoration was a real skull. She called the authorities right away. The Lee County Sheriff's Office tested it and confirmed it was a real human skull, about 75 years old. The skull showed no signs of violence and seemed naturally preserved, adding to the mystery of how it ended up in a thrift store. The store owner, Beth Meyer, said the skull was part of a storage unit she bought the year before, not knowing what was inside. She worked with the investigation, wanting to know more about this unusual find. The anthropologist thought the skull might be Native American, suggesting it might need to be returned to a local tribe for proper care. In 2022, beachgoers in Florida saw something strange emerging from the sand, an 80-foot-long structure that confused everyone. Maritime archaeologists came to check it out and found it was the remains of a 19th century shipwreck. Buried under the beach for centuries, it was uncovered by recent hurricanes. They decided not to move it to avoid damage and high costs. Instead, it would stay buried under the sand, protected by the beach and sea for future study. Another interesting find happened during the Seascape Alaska 5 expedition in 2023, led by the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. Deep in the ocean, 2 miles down, researchers saw a golden orb about 4 inches wide. Using a remotely operated vehicle, they approached it, first thinking it was a dead sponge on coral. They later guessed it might be an egg casing, adding to the excitement. Back on the ship, they analyzed it, but the exact nature of the golden orb remained a mystery. They only confirmed it was biological, highlighting the deep sea's unknown wonders. In another interesting event, 6-year-old Julian Gagan from Michigan found something amazing while exploring Dinosaur Hill Nature Preserve in Rochester Hills with his family. Walking through a creek, Julian stepped on something hard. He thought it might be a dragon's tooth, but discovered it was a mastodon tooth. This tooth belonged to a young mastodon, a giant animal that lived in North America over 10,000 years ago. The tooth, about the size of a fist with unique bumps, was a rare find. The University of Michigan Museum of Paleontology confirmed what it was and gave Julian a special tour in return for donating the tooth. This discovery sparked Julian's love for paleontology, and now he dreams of working in the field one day. But this wasn't the only surprising find. In Florida, researchers from the Conservancy of Southwest Florida broke a record in 2022. They captured the largest Burmese python ever found in the state. This female python was nearly 18 feet long and weighed 215 pounds. Researchers used GPS trackers implanted in male pythons to find larger females. One male python, named Dionys, led them to this giant snake. Unlike other wildlife, Burmese pythons are not released after capture because they are invasive and harm local ecosystems. Originally from Southeast Asia, They became a big problem in Florida after being released by pet owners. These pythons are now a major threat to local animals. And here's another remarkable tale. Near Chelsea, Michigan, James Bristle was installing a drainage system on his farm when he hit something hard. At first, he thought it was a cow bone. After digging more, he realized it was something much more special. He contacted the University of Michigan, and paleontologist Daniel Fisher quickly organized an excavation. They uncovered about 20% of a mammoth skeleton, including the skull, 2 tusks, and several bones. This mammoth lived between 11,000 and 15,000 years ago and weighed around 9 tons. This find added a fascinating piece to local history and helped scientists learn more about prehistoric life in the area. The bones of a mammoth, a giant from prehistoric times, showed clear signs of cuts. These marks tell the story of ancient humans who, against all odds, managed to hunt and use such a massive creature for food. Imagine the courage and cleverness needed to take down such a huge animal. It shows just how resourceful and brave our ancestors were. As we journey from the tale of Stucky to other incredible events, let's turn our attention to a recent and bizarre encounter in the animal kingdom. A child's dream fueled by a mastodon tooth. Another fascinating piece of history involves Stucky, a dog with a touching and sad story. Found in Georgia, Stucky is a mummified dog discovered by loggers inside a chestnut oak tree. Picture the shock and fear of those who first saw him, trapped within the hollow trunk. In the 1960s, Stucky chased a raccoon or squirrel up the tree, climbing higher until he couldn't turn back. His owner, unaware of his fate, must have searched everywhere but never found his loyal friend. The tree that became Stucky's tomb had special properties that preserved him. It contained tannin, a natural substance used in leather tanning, which protected Stucky from decay. Also, the hollow tree acted like a chimney, keeping the inside dry and letting air circulate, which stopped the smell of decay from attracting insects and other scavengers. This unique set of circumstances led to Stucky's natural mummification. Today, he is displayed at the Southern Forest World Museum in Waycross, Georgia, where visitors can see this rare natural mummy. But that wasn't the worst part. Our journey through these unusual historical snippets brings us to a recent and bizarre discovery: a two-headed snake. In Florida in 2020, a family's cat, Olive, brought home an unusual find. The snake, a juvenile southern black racer, had 2 heads. Named Dos, Spanish for two, this snake presented a rare biological phenomenon where an embryo begins to split into twins but doesn't fully separate. Each head of Dos has its own brain, eyes, and tongue, making simple tasks like eating or escaping predators very hard. Recognizing the difficulties Dos would face in the wild, the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission took it in, hoping to give it a chance at a longer life. Another amazing experience involves the Class family in North Carolina. Their young daughter, Sailor, claimed there was a monster in her room, inspired by a cartoon she had watched. Initially, her parents thought it was just her imagination, but the reality was far more unsettling. Persistent noises and a sudden appearance of bees in their home led them to discover a massive colony of 50,000 bees living within their walls, complete with around 100 pounds of honeycomb. The removal process, involving a beekeeper and a special vacuum, was a long and delicate operation, a vivid reminder of the surprises that can lurk within our very homes. In a home filled with the bodies of fallen bees, a family felt both relieved and worried when they had to pay a hefty $20,000 for a beekeeper to handle the infestation. Meanwhile, at the historic Mount Vernon, archaeologists made an amazing discovery. They found 2 glass bottles from the 1770s, still holding cherries preserved over 250 years ago. These bottles were found under a brick floor that was laid during a major restoration of George Washington's mansion. The cherries, along with their pits, stems, and original liquid, were still intact. When opened, the bottles released a scent like cherry blossoms, familiar to anyone who knows the area's springtime. It's believed that these cherries were stored using an 18th century method of drying the fruit before sealing them in bottles and burying them to keep them fresh for a long time. This method clearly worked, as the condition of the cherries and their containers shows. From historical fruit preservation to a natural spectacle few are fortunate enough to witness, nature's timetable provides us with more wonders. In another part of the country, people in the Midwest and Southeast, in states like Illinois, Indiana, Georgia, and Alabama, faced an unusual natural event earlier this year, a massive invasion of cicadas. This was unique because two groups of cicadas, Brood 13 and Brood 19, emerged at the same time. These groups have life cycles of 17 and 13 years, respectively. The last time this happened was in 1803. Cicadas are famous for their loud mating calls, which can be louder than 100 decibels. After they mate, they lay eggs and die, leaving behind a landscape filled with their remains, a fascinating and somewhat eerie sight. While some discoveries dig deep into the past, others may hold the keys to our future, especially in the realms of technology and energy. Paleontologists made a groundbreaking discovery of a new dinosaur species that once lived in North America. This dinosaur, named Eoron infernalis, looked like a parrot but was much larger and more fearsome, living alongside giants like the Tyrannosaurus rex. This species is part of a group called Sagittes, small, toothless, beaked dinosaurs similar to modern birds. The discovery was made in the Hell Creek Formation, a famous fossil site from the late Cretaceous period, around 66 million years ago. Each new fossil found helps us learn more about the ancient ecosystems of North America long before humans arrived. But the surprises didn't end there. In Pennsylvania, scientists discovered something surprising beneath the surface that could change the future of technology and energy. They found a large reserve of lithium, a key component in rechargeable batteries for smartphones, hybrid cars, and electric bicycles, among other things. This reserve was located in the wastewater from hydraulic fracturing in the Marcellus Shale. With lithium being scarce and in high demand, this find is significant. It could potentially supply up to 40% of the United States' lithium needs, marking an important milestone for both the energy and tech industries. But wait, there's more. Lithium is an important resource for our modern technology. Surprisingly, scientists have found it in the wastewater from fracking. Fracking involves injecting fluids into rocks underground to extract natural gas. Normally, this wastewater is just thrown away. But now, scientists at the National Energy Technology Laboratory discovered it contains a lot of lithium. What used to be a waste product is now seen as a potential gold mine. Lab tests show they can extract up to 90% of the lithium from this water. Currently, the United States imports most of its lithium from countries like Australia, Chile, and China. Finding lithium in Pennsylvania could reduce this dependency and increase U.S. lithium production, which aligns with the goals of the U.S. Department of Energy. However, the environmental risks of this extraction process are still a concern. A more sustainable method needs to be developed before this can become a widespread practice. Not all surprises come from the ground. Some come washing ashore, as mysterious as they are unexpected. On June 3, 2020, a huge, rare hoodwinker sunfish washed ashore on Gearhart Beach, Oregon. The fish, which was 7.3 feet long, caused a lot of excitement among locals and scientists. Known to live in the southern hemisphere, the hoodwinker sunfish was identified as a unique species only in 2017 by marine biologist Moran Nygaard. Its appearance in Oregon suggests these fish might travel further than we thought. In another strange event, in Oklahoma in July 2023, an 11-year-old boy named Charlie Clinton caught a fish with human-like teeth in a local pond. The fish was a pacu, a relative of piranhas with flat, molar-like teeth. Pacus are native to the Amazon River basin, but have been introduced to local waters through the exotic pet trade. When they outgrow their tanks, they are often released into ponds and rivers, where they can disrupt local ecosystems. While some creatures traverse vast oceans, Others take to the skies in a spectacle of nature's ingenuity. Many residents have noticed an unusual sight in parts of California: young spiders ballooning in the wind. This process involves spiders using silk strands to catch the wind and move to new areas. It has been particularly noticeable this year in cities like San Francisco and San Jose due to a population boom. Ballooning helps maintain spider populations by allowing them to spread out over large areas. The interplay of nature's elements brings about transformations that continually shape our environment, revealing new surprises each day. There are always more unexpected discoveries waiting to be made in our environment. The recent heavy rains in California have led to a surprising increase in plant growth. This lush greenery has given insects and spiders plenty to eat, which means there are now more of these creatures around. The warm weather that followed allowed many young spiders to take to the air. They use their silk threads not only to float on the breeze, but also to catch natural electrical currents in the atmosphere. These brave little spiders can soar up to 3 miles high and travel long distances, even crossing seas. This way of traveling helps them find new places to live, avoiding competition with their siblings. But for people who are scared of spiders, seeing them in the air has made spending time outside difficult. A 250-year-old preservation marvel. Now let's move to Washington State, where there's an interesting story about a man named Mel Waters. Mel once called a popular late-night radio show to talk about a strange hole he found on his property near Ellensburg. He described it as being about 9 feet wide, with bricks around the edge for about 15 feet before it dropped into unknown depths. Mel said he measured the depth with fishing line and estimated it to be over 880,000 feet deep, which is much deeper than any hole humans have ever dug. He also mentioned some weird things about the hole. It didn't produce an echo and never seemed to fill up, even though locals used it to throw away trash. Animals avoided it, and Mel even told a story about a dead dog thrown into the hole that was later seen alive. While many people find Mel's stories fascinating, there's no proof that this bottomless pit really exists. Now, a game designer in the United States who has made news with a unique project aimed at the far future. This designer, Jason Rower, was inspired by ancient games and the grand work of medieval cathedral builders. He created a game meant to last far beyond our current society. The game pieces and board were made from 30 pounds of strong titanium, and the game's rules were written on acid-free paper, sealed in a Pyrex tube, and buried in a titanium cylinder in the Nevada desert. The exact location is a secret, known only through mysterious GPS coordinates that Jason shared at a game developers conference in 2013. He gave out envelopes with 900 different sets of coordinates to attendees, leading to over 1 million possible locations. This means the game will remain hidden until someone in the distant future finds it, long after our time has ended. The beast of Bray Road has fascinated people in Wisconsin for many years. It all started back in 1936, when locals first saw a large, hairy creature that looked like a human, standing around 6 to 7 feet tall. It was covered in fur, had a head resembling a wolf or a big dog, and had glowing red or orange eyes and long, sharp claws. Unlike typical animals, it was seen walking on 2 legs and on all 4s. People thought the stories would fade away, but sightings increased in the late 1980s and early 1990s. One night in 1989, Lori and Drizzy saw the beast while driving home. She saw it kneeling by the roadside, holding what seemed like roadkill. When it looked at her, she was terrified and quickly drove away. She never saw the creature again. On Halloween night in 1991, another strange event happened. Doris Gibson hit something with her car. When she got out to check, the beast chased her back into her car. She described it as larger than a human and very fast. Even though there's no solid proof of the beast's existence, those who have seen it believe it's real and might still be out there in rural Wisconsin. Over in Ohio, a creepy photo sparked local talks. The picture showed a large figure with a human-like head in a Santa hat, but with long, thin limbs like a spider. This photo, led to wild theories about unknown creatures hiding in Ohio. Some people thought it might be a Halloween decoration left to scare anyone who found it outside. In Utah, Skinwalker Ranch in Uinta County is known for paranormal activity. Native tribes like the Ute and Navajo believe the land is cursed and inhabited by skinwalkers, witches that can turn into animals but move like humans. In the 1990s, billionaire Robert Bigelow bought the ranch to study these strange events, funded by the Pentagon. Although many of his findings are still secret, the ranch continues to be a hotspot for studying unexplained phenomena under its current owner, Brandon Fugel. The ranch is infamous for strange happenings like high radiation levels, weird electromagnetic fields, and strange effects on people, including sicknesses and injuries that can't be explained. Despite many studies, a lot about Skinwalker Ranch remains a mystery, keeping its reputation as a place full of unexplained and intriguing events. Could this footage prove something unbelievable? Or is there a simpler explanation? Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more.